Hey there everyone. So this is going to be the first video on physiology. So today we are going to start the neurophysiology. We are going to start the first chapter, that is the functional organizations of the nervous system. Okay, the functional organization of the nervous system. So we are going to see what is nervous system, types of systems, and we're going to see parts of brain and functions of those parts, and we're going to see the spinal nerves and other things. Okay, so let us start the functional organization of the nervous system. So we are going to see the definition first. What is definition of the nervous system? Nervous system is a well organized system of communication between the internal and the external environment. Okay, it is a well organized system that communicates with the internal and the external environment. It is a system of integration that coordinates important functions of internal organ systems of the body. So as we all know that all the organ systems are interlinked. Okay, change in one organ can also cause changes in the other organ. Okay, so like cardiac output, it is related to the GFR, the blood flow to the kidneys. The cardiac output, it is it is related to other organs system as well, so other organs as well. So nervous system, it is a organized system that changes the internal environment with the external environment to maintain and regulate the body functions, and it is a system of integration that coordinates. Okay, it is a coordination. It coordinates important functions of the organ systems of the body, of the different organs of the body. Okay, it regulates and maintains them. Now the nervous system, it is divided into three systems, that is the central nervous system, the peripheral nervous system, and the autonomic nervous system. Okay, so the central nervous system, it includes the brain and the spinal cords. Okay, the brain and the spinal cord, it is the central nervous system. The peripheral nervous system, it contains sensory neurons and the motor neurons. The sensory neurons help in carrying the information from the PNS to the CNS. Okay, from the peripheral nervous system to the central nervous system, and the motor neurons carry responses from the CNS to the target organs. Okay, or the PNS. Okay, now the autonomic nervous system, it is divided. It has two types, that is the sympathetic nervous system and the parasympathetic nervous system. Okay, sympathetic nervous system helps in it is kind of a positive feedback, and parasympathetic nervous system, it helps in stabilizing the sympathetic, or they are totally opposite to each other. So we are mainly concerned about the central nervous system in this topic. Okay, so now as we know, the central nervous system, it contains brain and it contains the spinal cord. We are going to see the parts of brain. Okay, the parts, there are three parts of brain. Okay, that is the forebrain, the midbrain, and the hindbrain. So forebrain, midbrain, and the hindbrain. The forebrain is also called as the proencephalon. Okay, before, and forebrain. Okay, the forebrain, and then we have the midbrain, that is the mesencephalon, and then we have the hindbrain, that is the rhomencephalon. Okay, so remember the names of it. Now the forebrain contains cerebral hemisphere. Okay, it contains the two cerebral hemispheres and the thalamus. Okay, see it, the cerebral hemisphere is called as the Diencephalon and the Diencephalon. Okay, so the cerebral hemisphere, it helps in learning new things, memory, and it helps in maintaining the memory, storage of the memory, planning, processing. It is helped by these are the functions of the cerebral hemisphere. And the thalamus, hypothalamus, metathalamus, subthalamus, all of these help in controlling the ANS. Okay, controlling the autonomic nervous system, that is the sympathetic and parasympathetic functions, and the endocrine functions. Okay, the hormonal functions, they are regulated by the Diencephalon, that is the thalamus. Okay, now we are done with the forebrain. Now come to the midbrain. The midbrain helps mostly in locomotion, balance, locomotion, etc. Okay, it consists of the corpora quadragemini, the nuclei, cerebral peduncles, substantia nigra, and the ligamentum. Okay, the midbrain consists of all this, and it mostly helps in locomotion and maintaining balance. So this is the this is just the introductory part. So this is a basic, okay, these are the basic things that all must know to understand the further concepts. So if the base is strong, we can learn the further concepts easily. Okay, so the hindbrain contains of the metencephalon and the myelencephalon. Okay, so it contains the pons and the cerebellum and the medulla oblongata. See, we saw that the forebrain contains cerebrum, the two cerebrum hemispheres, and the hindbrain contains cerebellum. Okay, do not get confused between these both. Okay, forebrain is the cerebrum, midbrain contains the cerebellum. Okay, so this is about the hindbrain. Okay, this is about the hindbrain. Now a very important thing that we must know is the brainstem. Okay, what is brainstem made up of? It is made of the brain, midbrain, the pons and the medulla all together form the brainstem. Okay, the midbrain, the pons and the medulla. Okay, you can remember it as NPM or PM square, whatever, you can remember it like that. So the midbrain, pons and the medulla, just remember this, don't forget. What are the functions of the brainstem? It helps in regulating and maintaining the cardiovascular system, the respiratory system, the sleep wakefulness, and the visceral functions, the organ functions and the motor activities. Okay, these are the functions of the brainstem. Okay, so we saw the forebrain parts, the midbrain parts and the hindbrain parts, and also about the brainstem and its function. Now we are done with the brain. See, in the central nervous system we are done with the brain. Now we are going to do the spinal cord. Okay, so the spinal cord, it consists of 31 segments of the motor or the multipolar and the sensory and pseudo unipolar nerves. Okay, so see, it arises from it, this is the skull and this is the medulla. Okay, it starts from the medulla, it passes through the cervical vertebrae, the thoracic vertebrae till the first lumbar vertebrae. Remember, the spinal cord, it arises from the medulla, and from the medulla till the first till the, what happened to my pen, it's not working properly today. Okay, so it's the first lumbar vertebrae. Okay, till the first lumbar vertebrae. See, this is the first lumbar vertebrae, till here it is the spinal cord, and between the L3 and L4 we have the tapping cerebrospinal fluid. Okay, we have the tapping cerebrospinal fluid. Okay, the lumbar peduncle. Okay, and this spinal cord, it has sensory outputs from the PNS via somatic nerves. Okay, and then it transmits to the brain. It then transmits to the brain, then the brain sends signal, then the signals convey to the target structure. Okay, how is it working? There is some stimuli, or there is some stimulus, so the sensory inputs from the PNS via somatic are transmitted to the brain. From the brain, so the brain sends signal to the convey signal to the target structures. Okay, this is how it works, the spinal cords, this is how it does. Okay, we saw the CNS, that is the central nervous system. Now we are going to see the autonomic nervous system. Okay, from spinal cord and brainstem to the visceral structures. Okay, it arises from the spinal cord and the brainstem and sends through the visceral structures. Okay, its response is to these structures, visceral structures. So we saw that it is sympathetic and the parasympathetic, sympathetic and parasympathetic. These work opposite to each other. Okay, we all know that the sympathetic we all know that the sympathetic and the parasympathetic, they are opposite to each other, and to maintain and regulate the visceral functions. We saw the blood pressure. Okay, the parasympathetic heart rate as well. How does the sympathetic maintain, increase the heart rate, the blood pressure, and how does the parasympathetic discharge bring it back to the normal? Also about the GFR, about the respiration, and all of the other visceral functions are controlled by the sympathetic and the parasympathetic. Okay, sympathetic increases and the parasympathetic is opposite to it, it brings it back to the normal. So we are done with the ANS. Now we are going to see the PNS. Okay, the peripheral nervous system. It contains contains the somatic nerves, to the bones, to the muscles, and to the skin. Okay, to the peripheral side, not the central. Central consists of brain and the spinal cord, and the PNS, the peripheral nervous system, supplies the bones, the muscles, and the skin. Okay, so from the PNS to the CNS, from the peripheral system to the central nervous system, what is the central nervous system contains of? It contains of the brain and the spinal cords. Okay, it contains the brains and spinal cord. So the peripheral nervous system, it goes sends the signals to the CNS through the sensory axons, and the CNS gives response to the PNS, to the peripheral side, by the motor neurons. Okay, by the motor neurons. So how do you remember that? From the PNS to the CNS, it is the sensory axon. See, it supplies to the skin, right? So our skin senses, okay, our skin senses the touches, the temperature, and the other things. So it is going to the central nervous system, to the sensory organs, axons, and then it is coming back through the motor neurons. Okay, so we are done with the CNS, ANS, PNS, the brain functions, its divisions, its subdivisions, then then the spinal cord. Now we are going to see the functions of the nervous system. Okay, the functions of the nervous system, common between body parts, and regulation of systematic functions. Okay, it maintains and regulates the body, proper body functioning, the organs, the muscles, the skin, etc., and it has a control and coordination with the environment. So the according to the external environment, the internal environment also changes, okay, to maintain it. So this is called as the homeostasis that we have already seen. Okay, what does it do? It regulates the body functions even though there is change in the external environment. Okay, suppose you're going on the high altitudes, the person starts producing large number of RBCs. Okay, so that is how our internal environment changes. So it is it is one of the functions of the nervous system. It is holding the control, it is doing the control and the coordination. Okay, control and coordination and regulations of all the body function is done by the nervous system. Okay, these are the functions of the nervous system. Now execution of the functions, how does this occur? So it occurs by recognition and transmission of the stimulus, and then presenting it into the CNS and generating command in the CNS and sending it to the peripheral or the target organ which is called as the response. So suppose so what is it? First it is a stimulus, then it goes through the afferent nerves, then it reaches the center, and then it comes back to the target organ through the efferent. Okay, to the efferent. So first it is recognition and transmission of the stimulus to the CNS, then generation of the commands in the CNS, and then response is given to the target organ. So this is how the nervous system functions. Okay, now we are going to study all of this. Okay, all of this we're going to study here, okay, in detail. Okay, so the regulation and transmission of the stimulus. Sensation is basic recognition. Okay, sensation, whatever you feel, it is a basic recognition of the stimulus due to change in the environment. Suppose there's change in the temperature, change in the change in other things, like see, the receptors are present. They convert environmental stimulus into action potential in sensory neurons, so that the information is going from the peripheral nervous system to the central nervous system. See, the changes can be mechanical changes, chemical changes, light, intensity, auditory, and also temperature, as I've already mentioned, auditory, hearing things, and light, intensity of light. As we know that the pupils dilate and constrict due to the intensity of the light that is entering into our eyes. So that is called as the pupillary reflex that we'll study further. It is mechanical changes, chemical changes, light intensity changes, auditory changes, temperature changes, and a lot more. Okay, so the sensory neurons go to the CNS. Okay, from the PNS, the sensory axons to the CNS, and back to it are the motor axons, or the motor neurons. Okay, so now we're going to see the information processing and generation of the signal. Okay, so the sensor okay originates okay to the thalamus, then to the sensory cortex, from there to the sensory sensory neurons to the brain, then planning and programming, then to the effector organ, and then learning of that particular signal, study of the sensory input that leads to remembrance. Okay, that we call it as a memory, and then the future, okay, then the future investigations as well. Okay, what does it do? Suppose if you are touching a hot pan, you're going to pull your hand back. What happens is that the receptors that are present, those send signals to your brain, and your brain sends a signal to your hand to pull your hand back. Okay, so this is the thing, and it creates a memory. Okay, it creates a memory. The next time you see the pan again, you will get a memory that yes, this pan was hot the last time and I had pulled my hand back. So this creates a memory. Okay, so this is how the information is presented. This is how it is processing, and the generation of signal, how does it takes place. Okay, now what is response? Response is movement of body parts due to the motor activities. We saw there was CNS and PNS. It was going through the sensory axons and coming back by the motor neurons. So due to this, there will be change in moments, or okay, change in moments of the body parts through the motor, called the motor activities. So this is called as a response. Change in visceral, autonomic, and behavioral function. Okay, it leads to change in the visceral function. Okay, visceral function. Okay, the pumping of the heart, the breathing. Okay, visceral function. Autonomic, like discharge of sympathetic discharge, maintenance of the sympathetic, maintenance of the parasympathetic discharge, and the behavioral function of the person. Okay, this is all called as the response. Okay, behavioral function, how do you say that? So suppose you are in the class and you haven't studied, and your teachers asks you to stand up and answer the question which you didn't study. So you will be a little bit scared, and you might not feel confident enough to answer the question. So you might develop fear. Fear that leads to increased heart rate, sweating, etc. So this is change in the behavioral functions. Okay, this is the response. Okay, now we're going to see the cellular compartments of the CNS. Okay, this the CNS, it contains the glial cells and the neurons. Okay, the glial cells are also called as the neuroglia. They are of different types. Are the astrocytes, the oligodendrocytes, the microglia, and the epidermal cells. I don't know how to pronounce this. I guess it's like epidermal cells. Okay, whatever. It's important to learn. I know it's important to pronounce as well, pronounce the word correctly, but it's okay. Okay, it contains the glial cells and the neurons. So we're going to, under neuron, we're going to study the structure of the neuron, that is the soma, the axon, and the dendrites, and the types. Okay, types of neurons are divided on 4 bases. Okay, 4 bases. That is the arrangement of the axon or the processes, the length of the axon, the function of the axons, and the dendritic patterns. Okay, on this basis the neurons are divided. So let us study about this. What are these cells? Okay, so these cells, they do not conduct the action potential, nor they do not conduct the action potential, nor the functional synapse. Okay, no synapse and no generation of the action potential. Okay, these cells, what do they help in? They can multiply. Excessive multiplication causes gliomas. Okay, see what do these cells do? They multiply. Okay, we'll see why they multiply and what are the functions of these cells. See, excessive multiplication of this causes the gliomas. Okay, and it causes the malignal brain tumors. Okay, due to the excessive multiplication, brain tumors can occur. Okay, of which cells? These glial cells, which are also called as the neuroglia. Okay, so what are the functions? See, there are like 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 5 6. Okay, so there are 6 functions. Okay, what does it help in? form mechanical matrix in which neurons are embedded. Okay, these cells, they contain the matrix in which the neurons are embedded. Okay, they contain a mechanical matrix in which the neurons are embedded. They help in holding the neurons. Okay, the next function is metabolism and nutritive role okay, to the neurons. Okay, they provide the metabolic and the nutritive role for the neurons. Okay, and then regulate blood flow to the brain. These cells help in regulating the blood flow. So first was the mechanical matrix in which the neurons are embedded, and they have nutritive and metabolic role to the neurons. We saw that they regulate blood flow to the brain. They are source of ions. Okay, they also contains ions. They insulate axon and synapses. Okay, electrically isolate from one another. Okay, they help in isolating this okay, the electrical communication between the two axons. Okay, so what they do, they insulate the axon and the synapses. Okay, and phagocytosis of the neural debris. Okay, whatever debris is present, okay, they help in phagocytosis. So what is it? The mechanical matrix, the metabolic and nutritive role, blood flow to the brain, source of ions. They isolate the axons and synapses, do not let the electrical communication between the two occur, and also help in phagocytosis of the neural debris. Now we are going to see the types of it. Okay, types of these cells. First are the astrocytes. Astro, what do you mean by astro? Star. Okay, star shaped. See, it is star shaped, found in the brain and the spinal cord. It is found in both the brain and the spinal cord. Mechanical matrix, matrix, insulate and isolate, metabolic and nutritive role. We have already studied here, right? So these are the general functions and these are the specific functions of the cells. Okay, so mechanical matrix, we have seen insulate and isolate, the electrical communication between two axons, and the metabolic and nutritive role we have seen. Now oligodendrites. Okay, oligodendrites, they are the myelinated axons. Okay, oligodendrites, they are the myelinated axons. Okay, they avoid current flow to the axonema. Okay, so see, they avoid the current flow to the axonema for faster conduction. Why it is so? What is the significance? Its significance is faster conduction. Okay, Schwann cells are the glial cells in the PNS. Okay, so in the CNS it is called as a neuroglia, and in the PNS it is called as a glial cells. Okay, now microglia. Okay, it is the smallest. See, it is in the name itself, it is smallest. Okay, if infection is caused, these cells enlarge and form the mononuclear phagocytosis to eliminate the infection. See, I have written it in a flowchart manner so that it will be easier for you to understand and also write the same in the examples. Okay, exams. Okay, so see, these are called as the scavenger cells. Okay, what do the scavengers do? They eat the dead the dead materials, the dead substances. They feed on the dead substances. So the microglia, they are the smallest. They help in phagocytosis. If there is some infection, these cells enlarge, produce the form the the mononuclear phagocytosis and eliminate the infection. Okay, which cells? The microglia type of these cells. And then we have the last one, that is the epidermal cells. These line the brain ventricles and the central canal of the spinal cord. Okay, the brain ventricles and the center canal of the spinal cords. Okay, its function is unknown. Okay, the function of this is unknown. We don't know the function of this yet. Okay, so we are done with the CNS. We saw what are these cells, what are the functions of these cells. They are also called as neuroglia. We saw the astrocyte, the oligodendrocytes, and microglia, and the epidermal cells. The function of these cells is unknown. Okay, now structures of the neuron. Under neuron, we are going to study the structures. Now we are going to see what is soma, what is axon, what are dendrites. Okay, so yeah, about the neuron. Okay, functional unit of the nervous system. Okay, functional unit of nervous system. It is the functional unit of nervous system is called the neuron. Okay, we are going to first study the structure of this. The structures are the soma, the dendrites, and the axons. We are going to study about this in the detail. So see, the soma is the nucleus, the cell body, and the cytoplasm. Contains the nucleus, the cell body, the cytoplasm. Okay, see, the nucleus and the cytoplasm both together form the cell body. Okay, what happens? The nucleus and the cytoplasm form the cell body. So see, the nucleus and the cytoplasm form the cell body that is called as the soma. Okay, the cytoplasm contains all the organelles. Okay, the cytoplasm, it contains all the organelles. The organelles are the granules. They are mainly called as the Nissl bodies or the Nissl granules. Okay, the Nissl granules. Okay, they are the modified rough endoplasmic reticulum. Okay, the modified rough endoplasmic reticulum. So these help in the protein synthesis of the, let me change the color actually. Okay, this help in the protein synthesis of the, okay, neuron, which the modified rough endoplasmic reticulum, what are they called? The Nissl bodies or the Nissl granules. Okay, and it also contains the nucleus, right? We saw that it contains the nucleus and the cytoplasm. The nucleus contains the nucleolus. Okay, it contains the nucleolus, and the cytoplasm contains all the organelles and the special modified RER, that is the rough endoplasmic reticulum, which is called as the Nissl, which helps in synthesis of proteins for the neurons. Okay, so see, the nucleus can be centrally or centrally placed or the ecentrally. Okay, it contains nucleolus. The nucleus contains nucleolus. So this is about the soma. It is the cell body made up of the nucleus and the cytoplasm. Now we're going to see what are dendrites. Okay, 90% of total surface area of the neuron. Okay, the dendrite is made up of the 90% of the dendrite is made up of the neurons. Okay, the neurons. See, the proximal dendrites contains Nissl body and the Golgi apparatus. Okay, the proximal dendrite, so this is the proximal dendrite, contains the Nissl granules and the Golgi apparatus. The distal dendrites contains no Nissl granules. The proximal, they contain the Nissl granules and the Golgi apparatus, and the distal dendrites, they do not contain. Okay, now mostly microfilaments and microtubules. Okay, mostly made of the microfilaments and the microtubules. They are okay, they are the receptors. Okay, they help in they act as the receptors, conduct impulses forward to the cell body. Forward, okay, they are sending the impulses to the cell body, the dendrites. Okay, we'll see the diagram also at the last. We'll see. Now what are the axons? Axons are the longest processes of the neuron. Okay, they are unmyelinated proximal part. Okay, see. So this is the axon, whatever you're seeing here, this is the axon. Let me change the color. So okay, that is the, okay, so this is the axon, and whatever you see here inside is the neurotransmitter. Okay, the neurotransmitter. So this is the axon and the exoplasm. Okay, it is the exoplasm containing the neurofibrils and some vesicles. Okay, neurofibrils and the vesicles. Now we are done with the soma, the dendrites, and we are done with the dendrites, the soma, and the axons as well. Okay, now we're going to see the types of neurons, and then we're going to end the chapter. Okay, the types of neurons. Okay, on 4 bases they are divided. Okay, the first basis is arrangement of the axons or the axon processes. So they can be unipolar, pseudopolar, bipolar, and multipolar. Okay, bipolar or multipolar. So neuropolar, okay, single process. Okay, it has only single process. It is present in invertebrate and present in vertebrae or vertebrae. Okay, and invertebrates. Okay, it is present in all invertebrates and in vertebrae. Okay, like humans. Okay, vertebrae. Okay, it is present in the ANS. Okay, so unipolar, present in all invertebrates, and in human beings vertebrae ANS में present है. ठीक है. So pseudopolar. Okay, pseudopolar axons. Okay, central and peripheral. Okay, again into two types, central and peripheral. Dorsal root of ganglion. Okay, dorsal root of ganglion are the pseudo unipolar. Okay, now the bipolar have two processes, and the example for this is the retina, and the multipolar has many processes. It is in the spinal motor neuron. Let us see the examples again. So the unipolar in invertebrates and in humans in the ANS, the pseudopolar in the dorsal root of ganglion, the bipolar in the retina, and the multipolar in the spinal motor neuron. Okay, so now on the basis of length of neuron, we have two types, that is the Golgi 1 and the Golgi 2. Golgi, okay, Golgi, I don't know, you can pronounce it both the ways. So okay, I pronounce it as Golgi apparatus or the Golgi 1, Golgi 2. Okay, so there are the cortical motor neurons, and remember that these are small and the Golgi 2 are long. Golgi 1 are small, Golgi 2 are long. See, neurons are long, axons are short, and in this the neurons are short, okay, and the axons are also short. Okay, cortical inhibitory neurons, okay, present in the cortical motor neurons, in the cortical inhibitory neurons. Okay, now on the basis of function, they are sensory neurons and motor neurons. Sensory carry information from the PNS to the CNS, they are called as the afferent, and the motor carry this information or the response from the CNS to the target organs, the efferent. Okay, so see, PNS, CNS, from here to here it is through the efferent, from CNS to the peripheral it is through the efferent, and it is sensory and it is motor. Okay, sensory and sensory and motor. So we are done with this. Now the last one is the dendritic pattern. On the basis of dendritic pattern, we have two, the pyramidal cells and the satellite cells. Pyramidal, they are the pyramid shaped, present in the hippocampal neurons. Okay, the hippocampal neurons, and the satellite cells in the cortical satellite cells, from the cortical satellite cells. Okay, so on basis on the four types: arrangement of axons, length of neurons, functions of neurons, and the dendritic pattern. Now the left out topic, we are going to see the left out diagrams. Okay, I mean, not left out, but yeah, these are the diagrams. So these are the dendrites. Okay, let me change the color. So these are the dendrites. So I told you, right, towards the proximal we have the Nissal's granules, and towards the distal we don't have Nissal's granules. This is the soma containing of the nucleus and the cytoplasm. Nucleus plus cytoplasm forms the soma or the cell body. So these are the Schwann cells. So this portion is the axons, and this, whatever you see here at the sides, is the myelin sheath, and these are the nodes of the Ranvier, and these are the terminal axons and the synaptic knob. We will study about the synaptic knob in further chapters. Okay, I'll be covering the further chapters. Okay, so the central nervous system, see, this is the brain. Okay, this is the brain, this is the spinal cord. We saw central nervous system contains brain and spinal cord. The brain contains forebrain, midbrain, and the hindbrain. So see, cerebrum hemisphere, it is in the forebrain. Okay, cerebellum is in the hindbrain, and the brainstem is formed by the midbrain, pons, and the medulla, MPM or M square. Okay, PM square. Okay, this is the brain, pons, and medulla. Please do not forget this. Okay. Now we are going to see the type of neuroglia, that the glial cells we had seen. In the central nervous system, we have the ependymal cells. The function is unknown, as we all know. The oligodendrites, see, these are the oligodendrites, and the astrocytes, they are the star-like. They help in providing nutritive functions, metabolic functions, and other things. And these are the microglia, which acts against the infection. Okay, they enlarge and help in phagocytosis, mononuclear phagocytosis. Okay, in the peripheral nervous system, we saw there are satellite cells and pyramidal cells. Okay, pyramidal cells are not shown in this. So satellite cells. Okay, these are the satellite cells. You can see the satellites, and we have the Schwann cell. This is the Schwann cell. Okay, these are the types of the glial cells or the neuroglia. Now the types of neurons. See, this is the unipolar neuron. See, pyramidal neuron is here. See, pyramidal. You see, this is pyramidal here, here, and here. So it is forming a pyramid. Okay, it's a pyramidal This is multipolar. See, there are many. So this is multipolar, this is bipolar 1 and 2. So this is bipolar. So this is unipolar, bipolar, and this is Purkinje. This is not given in the textbook, but it is here in the diagram. Okay, so see, this one is a nucleus. So this is whatever you see, this is cell body, these are the axons, the purple are the axons, and these are the dendrites. Okay, so this is about the types of neurons based on the processes. Okay, processes unipolar है, multipolar है, bipolar है, pyramidal है, कैसा है. So this is about the chapter. Thank you so much. The next part of this video, the chapter is completed. Okay, the next chapter will be covered soon. Thank you.